Good evening, curious people of the internet. Welcome back at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. This is Seda Röder, your host speaking. And at the other end of the line, I have a very special guest tonight, Heiko Stahl. Please welcome first Heiko with me.
Hello.
Hi, Heiko.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to have you at the show. Heiko is the general manager of Vitra, the design company, the furniture company, the lifestyle company, the future of work company. You know, so many different. One of the most important companies actually that defined how we live and work at the workplace. You're the general manager for Switzerland and for Austria, and I'm really happy to have you here because I think this is a very important moment in history. And I think, and I believe your company and you are, sincerely and truly looking into how we're going to think and work in the future and how we're going to be, curating our experience around work.
We are doing this. So we actually think about the future of work and the future of living. We really believe at the moment that the back to the office or back to the work, it's quite a difficult and a different topic than what we had before the COVID-19 situation. It's not an easy answer. It's not an answer what we're having at the moment, but maybe by asking the right questions to other people, we might get to an answer which helps us all.
Yeah.
This is how we see it.
Start with yourself. How has your life changed after this whole pandemic crisis?
It's so funny. The last trip I did was to Vienna, and the shutdown in Vienna was Friday, and I left Vienna on a Thursday, and they canceled the first flight, and I was really scared that I have to stay for the next couple of weeks in Vienna, which is not too bad, but it's like without family it would be a tough one. But yeah, so I flew home, and the weekend developed very nightmarish, to be honest, because I did not expect something like that. 5 days later, we have a total lockdown in Switzerland. We have the lockdown a week earlier in Austria. So it was like that shocking moment, that kind of what's going on. After the first couple of days and weeks, try to having a routine with the team, trying to have like things going on and organize yourself. Last week I told my wife, usually I'm like 80 times a year in a plane, because I also take care of the international key account management, so which is international, which means flying. And last week I told my wife, look, since 12 weeks I'm staying in the same bed now, which was a very weird situation for me, but we get along quite good to each other. So even if I'm 3 months at home now, no fights, no kind of unusual arguments or whatever. So this is quite amazing to see that if the button is hit on stop, that it works also. That the old like, normal is not normal.
Yeah, totally. It's like no flights, no fights.
Yeah. It's and not a FaceTime call with your daughter because you need to get a new dress or whatever. It was really just like the situation to say, look, I'm here, I'm fine. We handle it with each other, and I'm here. So that was the first couple of weeks. To be very honest now, I'm not sick of being at home, but I'm really sick of not being able to see humans, to see people, to hug people, to shake hands, to have kind of face-to-face discussion, to see the little movements in the face if you talk to people. This is what I miss. I mean, so cool Zoom and Teams and Skype and FaceTime is, but you do not smell, you cannot feel, you don't have the vibes of the other person around. And I strongly believe that humans are made for that one, to see each other, to feel each other, to smell each other, to hug each other. So absolutely. I miss that a lot.
I mean, when we think back about, the cultures you have created around the workplaces, it was also to support these kinds of encounters between people. How do you think, our notion of the workplace is going to be changing?
We wrote some hypotheses about the back to the office and we really thought about it, but beside the things about hygienic, beside the separation screen, plexiglass screens, and all stuff like this will happen now, but that's not us, that's not Vitra. Of course, we can provide you with some hygienic and sanitizer to clean our tabletops, and we only sell wool fabric maybe because that's hygienic-wise the kind of best fabric you can get. But on the other hand, it's about the collaboration, it's about sharing the experience, it's about sharing knowledge, it's about showing what you're working on, make your work visible, and get the teams together, get the people together. And we always talked about the campus, we always talked about collaboration area, we always talked about the agile kind of work concept. I strongly believe, we strongly believe that there is no need to go to the office to work on an Excel sheet. There's no need to go to the office to work on a PowerPoint presentation.
I love that, yeah.
We learned that it's possible to do it from home. And if the kids back are in school, maybe even better. So the reason why you go to the office, I believe it's about the belonging factor. It's about being part of a bigger tribe, to be part of it, to see that identity for the company I work for, to be part of the bigger picture. It's about collaboration, sharing ideas, sharing knowledge, make your work visible. It's about the agile situation. And again, it's not about sitting behind closed walls and closed doors and work on Excel sheets. Again, bookkeeping still had to do that stuff. But
everybody deserves a nice looking office.
Yeah, I think a nice and a functional office here. That's also quite important. If it's only nice looking and the workflow is not working, that makes no sense. So in our eyes, the height of headquarters, the kind of office will change into that. In German, it's called Begegnungsstätte, these kind of collaboration areas where people meet, where people see each other, where people can shake hands and maybe hug each other. Again, to share ideas, to work together on something, because this is why humans are made for the social interaction, to get to work with each other.
So can you think of a future where actually, most of the works that requires more concentration and equals some sort of a loneliness, maybe you just do that kind of work in your home, and then when you come together, it really matters. It's really about being together in the same room, sharing ideas, creating together, collaborating.
Yeah, I think that's what we already had, more or less. If you have a look at the open space office around, we always have like the nesting, the concentrating areas where you can be focused. But all the other areas, like 150 workstations, are completely open space. People can decide where they want to sit, to who do I need today to fulfill my task. So it was always like that collaboration. Now we learned that most of that concentrated work can be done at home. We can save money by commute. I mean, I was able to make like 1,000 kilometers on a bike on April and May each month, which is only possible because I don't have to commute. I don't have to go and board a plane and wait in a queue up and stuff like this. So I think that quality of life, that quality for your private life as well, but also for your business life, I think we don't want to get rid of that anymore. But it's so important if you work in project teams, if you work with colleagues together, that they are all on the same page. So how to handle that one? That's about making the work visible. It's about sharing the ideas. And that, again, can't be done in closed offices. It's fine to do it with Teams and with Zoom and Skype, but at the end, that social interaction, that's what companies need to provide.
Totally. I'm also looking forward to, coming together with the people and going for a picnic or for dinner, for lunch, whatever. So one of the important aspects, and it's been almost 10 years, 10 minutes into 10 years, 10 minutes into, time flies. 10 minutes into our kitchen talk. And I have to mention to the people who are watching our stream, if you're interested in the future of work and the collaboration in the design of the workplace, please tune in to sli.do for Heiko Stahl, who is the general manager of Vitra in Switzerland and Austria. So our event code is 44910, 44910. If you have any questions to Heiko, please tune in and ask him. And Heiko, I have a question actually immediately for you. You know that this is the Entrepreneur's Kitchen, and although we see cooking or preparing a meal as a symbolic act of being together, of sharing, because we believe, I mean, everybody knows food is culture, food connects. So we ask our guests to prepare something with only 3 ingredients. So something creative, something small, something sincere and generous. What do you have in your disposal?
Oh, that's a tough one. What do I have? I think to spice up life, it's quite important to add some spice into the food. And we learned about that one, that spice can be different. So, but the most important one of that one is never lose the positivity and the optimism. And even if you cook a meal, just try something. Don't stick to the recipe. Just try something, add some ingredients. It will be fantastic at the end. And I think this is how I see also life. It's like, just try sometimes. Try it. It doesn't have to be stick to the rules or whatever. Just be a little bit creative. And we learn in these pandemic times that we need to be creative. And I think that's also very important. So if you prepare a meal, try to be creative. Add a little bit of spice in the positive way. And at the end, maybe a glass of wine will help.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And so I decided to use my brown, look at them.
Okay, I had 2 of them today at the same color.
Yeah, terribly brown bananas. And then I'm going to be smashing them, putting some almonds and some honey, actually. And this is going to be the dessert for our little daughter, because she didn't like the dinner. She was like, I don't like what you cook. Give me something else. What are you preparing on Entrepreneur's Kitchen? And then I see these rotten bananas, and they always work.
So I already had dinner. So when I had done a quick one with the family, oh, you have a glass of wine. I'm not during the week, only no alcohol. That's what we tried. The first 3 weeks was impossible to do so, but then now it worked out. So yeah, it's strange time. So, but if you prepare something quickly, it's some egg white, some cheese in it, some spices, and that's it. And even my daughter likes it.
Yeah, that's very important, because they're the worst judges. And the elder they get, the more they talk.
and the most honest one.
Yes, and they start disagreeing, which is an interesting new challenge in life. But let's go back to talk about our future of work culture. So, how can I imagine now, because it looks like the limitations between, or the borders between home and work are even borderless now. So everything comes kind of together. And if we're no longer going to go to an office place, or only go to an office place if it's absolutely necessary, should we all be arming our office rooms as with Vitra chairs? So what do we do now?
Well, what happened also in that time now, that everybody was forced to work from home, more or less forced to work from home, and sitting maybe on the kitchen chair, which is not the ergonomic decent chair. Everybody recognized one of a sudden how important a chair is. If you sit the whole day on it, you recognize it. It came to our consciousness one of a sudden. Hey, if I sit on the wrong chair, I hurt my back. But we were scared to go to the doctor to get our back repaired at the end. But I think that is so important to have a decent chair at home. It's not just the kitchen chair. It's really, if you sit there, it's important to have that. But what I believe, if we now talk about we all can work from home and maybe see each other 2 times a year, a very important thing is missing. I think every person belongs to something bigger. It's about the tribe. It's about the identity. And this is what companies also need to create if we talk about the office. So even if we integrate the home office now in our daily work, that's fine. But at the end, if it's too much, we might lose the connection to the people. We can talk, yes, we can see each other on Zoom or on Skype or whatever, but the deep emotional connection, it's so important that companies need to work on that one as well. Yes, integrate the home office, integrate a decent chair at home, like Google is doing now with the perks program they started. They will pay an allowance for $1,000 per Googler to spend for office furniture, which is a good thing to do because they see, look, that's important. But on the next step, they need to work on how to handle the headquarters, that people come back, that people are happy and safe to come back to the office. Because again, if we talk about belonging, if we talk to be part of a tribe, if we talk about identity, if we talk about the emotion, the connection towards the company, there must be a reason to go to the office. Nobody, not all can have a campus like we have, for example, with these different kind of architectural stuff and things. But it's important to create that identity and make the company's culture visible, because this is just the mirror picture of the company culture, of the corporate culture, of the identity. And this is what we need to work way deeper with the companies on than before. And yes, integrate the home office fine, but don't forget that people need to come together and talk and exchange.
Yeah, well, or actually, I think I'm having a genius moment right now. Why not furnish everybody's homes in the style of the company?
Here we are. And this is
so you can send me all the payments.
Okay. We're working on that, Sarah. Yeah, I put you to our legal department in that case, if you don't mind. No, but
seriously, I mean, yeah.
It sounds so easy, but this is a little bit what we also talk about. If you talk about iconic furniture, and if you see some furniture from us, they are iconic. The Eameses, the Pantons, the stuff like this, you know. And if you have that at your home and the connection to your office, I mean, there's immediately a kind of, I feel home, I feel comfortable. I know there is a connection between the two spaces. Something like that can be possible. On the other hand, if you have not the best office chair in the office and you need to have it at home as well, I mean, that might be a little bit frustrating and not putting the right motivation on that one.
Exactly. Take take a flavor of your office to your home, or not.
Yeah, and vice versa. I think it's also, and that's what we've done. And if we are honest, I mean, that started all with Apple. That one of a sudden people wanted to bring their private device to the office because it's way easier, it's way more convenient to work like this. So one of a sudden the office opened to get stuff from home into the office, and now maybe the way goes around with the furniture, with some little things, with like little accessories, like our little devil. It's like these little things which brings the emotions into the office and also at home. I think that's important these days as well. It's not like only Excel sheets. It's not like only sitting on the white table and desk and doing this. It's about the emotion.
Actually, I want to ask a question about this particular word you're using, the emotion. How do we translate the spirit of a company into furniture?
It's not just the furniture, it's not just the desk, the chair, and the cupboard and the sofa. It's the holistic approach of that one. And this is what a lot of companies don't see. They start talking about furniture, they start talking about color, about acoustic, about lighting, and about whatever inside the room, inside the space, but that's not it. It needs to be a holistic approach which all fits together and matches together. Eames always talked about the collage, and the whole office, the whole living room, the whole home, it's always a collage, but it's a collage about what you have experienced in your life. If I walk into your living room, I see who you are and what you have done and what have you experienced. And I think that's also very important to bring that into an office of the company. Where does the company come from? What is the DNA of the company? What is the kind of fundament, build it on? Never lose the garage spirit, because most of the company are founded like that, sitting in the garage and having that entrepreneurial spirit and taking the risk. These days, if a company and these days it's even more complicated, but these days if you want to do something, you need to write a business plan, you need to talk to controlling, you need to talk to bookkeeping, you need to convince so many people, and you're getting kind of sick of that one. Like, but if the company was founded, you just do it. You just try it. You work on that. And I think that's so important. Never lose the DNA and the roots where you're coming from as a company, and make that one also visible.
To that end, actually, I have a question. You just mentioned yourself the startup spirit, this, you know, the beginner's mind. And I mean, it's not only the mindset, it's also the financial means, of course. If you're just starting a company, you might have great ideas about also your company culture and how to translate it into the design of the workspaces. But what does it take to come to a point where you settle for a certain type of, internal life? And what do you do if you want to change it?
I think what does it take to change something? I think courage. It's an important thing. Never lose that kind of courage. But I also understand for the companies, and that was also before COVID, as higher the responsibility is, maybe as less the kind of courage towards new things goes, because you need that kind of security at the end. But again, we should never forget where we come from. So we should never lose that kind of spirit, and integrate it somewhere into the company, even if it's just a little garage spirit, trashy looking kind of room or area in the company, which is not as sleek as all the others, which is just that kind of, this is how everything started. I think if you keep that one, that's important. But of course, as higher the responsibility gets, as bigger the company gets, I think the kind of entrepreneurial spirit still stays, but it might shift a little bit towards other KPIs and stuff like this.
Yeah, that's true. And how is it for you? Are you looking forward to going back to your office?
I even go to the office 2 days a week. I'm allowed to, and it was like, it was a little, but the first client appointment last week, 2 weeks ago, I had the first client appointment on campus. Campus is still empty because we are not really allowed to have more than 6 people or whatever in a group there. It's in Germany, so you need to wear the mask if you're walking into the rooms. But I had that first kind of client meeting after the time, and it really felt like first date. It was really, it was really excited, but from both sides, the client as well as we are. So I'm really looking forward to see my people again. I mean, I haven't seen them for 12 weeks now, except for Zoom, maybe 3 or 4 direct reports, yes, but not the others. I had some encounters and some talks with our CEO, which was fine, and family, which is also good. But it's like that interaction, it's really missing. And I'm scared about that we might lose some of our empathy, that we might lose some of our social skills by being at home the whole time.
Yeah, on the one hand, we care so much more, and then on the other hand, it's like, don't come too close to me.
Don't touch me.
So there is, yeah, exactly. Don't touch me. There is a question already. Has Vitra ever thought about doing furniture that integrates seamlessly with the digital world?
Well, that's a discussion since years what we are having, but we always said, and it's maybe a clear answer coming, seeing our history, the furniture what we are creating should live longer than the digital part of that one. For that reason, we always said, look, we don't want to have an integration of that one, but we started a new product 2 years ago, which is called Dancing Wall, which is integrating screens, but you also can cover up the screen with a whiteboard or with a pinboard or with acoustic materials. You can wheel that kind of dancing wall away. So this is the kind of connection and the part, but we really don't want to do that kind of digital and furniture integration because of that longevity of our products. Because we strongly believe the most sustainable thing is how long a product lives, and that starts with a design, that then starts with a quality, with a material, and things like that. So for that, we always try to separate that one.
Yeah, and I remember you also talking about, and I know that this is a very dear topic to your company, because some of the products you produce are, hard materials, plastic and things like that. So you want them to survive.
We have a chair, it's called the Eames plastic chair. I mean, that was before COVID-19 per se a bad thing. But this chair lives for 50 years without any problem. So it's not like a single-use plastic you throw away. So it's really, it lives long. And this is what we always want to do. It's tough because all new product or every new product has to pass that kind of test, and some fail, some will make it at the end. But this is always what we try to achieve. The most sustainable thing is how long a product lives.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can create a design that's like the Ames chair that is kind of timeless, you can actually put it everywhere. It works in 60s, it works today, it works. It's probably going to work in 20 years. Then you don't have to just replace it all the time. Yeah. There is another question here. How about personalization? Can I get my personalized design, or is this too imposing for the designer?
No. Well, we always stick to the designer, which is really a statement from our side. The designer is deciding how does the product look like, what kind of fabric, what kind of color. But we are moving and shifting a little bit from that one. So you can use your personal fabric for your sofa, for your chair. You can choose from all, for example, the quadrat fabrics from Denmark, whatever you want to put on that chair, on the sofa. As long as it's technical feasible, we do it. So it's not like stick to it like designer said it. We are a little bit more flexible now.
That's excellent. Well, Heiko, I mean, we're almost at the end of the show.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, isn't it? I know. 27 minutes, and look.
Prepared? Oh, wow.
Yes, so just puree some old bananas, use a little bit of honey, and then roast the almonds and put a tiny bit of cinnamon on it, and then call your kid.
Okay.
I'm going to do that in a moment.
Yeah, I will do it the next time, promise.
It's really, really good. And before, doing a long biking tour, or after, even better.
Or after, we'll do it, yeah.
Exactly. Well, you know that we always, close on a positive and funny mode. Oh, but there is a very interesting question, Giant. I have to ask you this question. Let's try to keep the answer short, but then
tough.
Go to the jokes. Would you say that a company like IKEA has helped to propel good design in the normal person's home, or is it rather the opposite?
100%. What IKEA achieved, I mean, this is, I think if you're as a student, if you want to buy a design kind of piece of furniture, you go to IKEA. If you buy furniture, you never know, but at the end, you always buy that kind of canvas. So there is something happening with IKEA. So if you talk about Nordic design, I think they really managed to get the Nordic design and the design approach, what they are doing in front of us. And that, of course, helps us also, because if you start buying a chair at IKEA, which is design-wise okay, quality-wise fine, you always see what kind of price you pay for it. That's clear.
Well, never take them apart and build them back again.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can build them.
And all of us did the Billy. I mean, we know it, we have done it. But I think IKEA, I always said usually we should have our own store opposite of IKEA. So as a student, you go to IKEA and afterwards you come to us. So it's that kind of thing what we always hope for. Yeah, so they really, it's not a bad thing per se what they are doing.
Yeah. Well, Vitra is definitely more like an aspirational brand, with the with your chairs. What is this really beautiful wood and leather one called? I forgot the name.
The Eames lounge chair?
Yes, the lounge chair, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I want to be there.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic product. It started in the 50s. I mean, it's still there. And if you buy it, it's like a decent Swiss watch in that case. you hand it over to the next generation. You don't put it on the garbage or whatever. You don't throw it away. You keep it for the next generation. We are running tests with the lounge chairs, and it lasts for 350 years. So without a problem, you can change the shock mount, the kind of little movement in there. That's it. So that's what we do.
Yeah, you have to then bring one of those to the space station.
We are already in talk with Elon Musk in that case.
Seriously?
No.
That would have been awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much, but now this is your turn to tell a joke.
That's a tough one, but it's really, I think since yesterday since 1.5 days about the joke, and trust me, if I would have now a bottle of wine, it would be easy to tell a joke, but I have no one. But I would like to end with maybe a very positive thing, what I believe. I think if we learn something from that whole thing, I think that humans need humans, and that we should really look forward to what happening afterwards, but we should never forget what happens also. Unfortunately, not a lot of us remember what happens in January this year with a fire in Australia, because humans are made to forget. I think we should never forget that one. We should stick to each other, and we need each other. And that kind of desperate need of a hug and of a handshake and not be afraid of touching people, I think that is coming back, and that helps us again. And this is so important for me to keep that in mind, to keep that going. We learned a lot, slept 12 weeks in the same bed, which is quite amazing. No fights with my wife, no fights with my daughter. So that's very positive. No joke, unfortunately. But I'm so excited to see people again, to meet people again in person. And I hope everybody feels like this. Home office is not the answer to all. Staying at home is not the answer at all. Let's exchange ideas, see each other, and start celebrating as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And, also go south. Why do birds fly to south?
I guess there's something to do with the weather and with the sun and with the happiness there.
Because it would be too long to walk.
Okay, fine for you. Well done.
Well, Heiko, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and joining me at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. This was really a very interesting look into the future of how we're going to work and collaborate in our workplaces, homes, in a new kind of world. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you and from Vitra about integrating digital life into the design and bringing your chair, the long chair, to the space.
We're working on that one.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Heiko.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ada, for having me. It was super evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, you stay in the line for a short after-show party while I say goodnight to the people of the internet. Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be super interesting. We are going to have the head of VDZ, Verband Deutscher Zeitschriften. It is also a very German word. Stefan Scherzer is going to be joining me tomorrow. It is the, common organization of all German publishers and newspaper and magazine publishers. And it is definitely an industry that is facing interesting challenges. So let's tune in for tomorrow's talk. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you here again, and see you tomorrow.